Hello and everyone, welcome to TBC News. Our top stories. Tanzania and Indonesia revive relations in key sectors. BOT reports sufficient foreign currency reserve.
We had 5.441 billion US dollars.
Good evening, I am Faida Ngaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages at TBC Online. President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan says bilateral cooperation between Tanzania and Indonesia will advance the business, agricultural, energy, and investment sectors by bringing together the public and private sectors in the country. President Dr. Samia made the remarks at the State House in Dar es Salaam after the signing of 7 bilateral agreements between Tanzania and Indonesia. Here are more details.
The 2-day working visit of the President of Indonesia, Joko Widodo, to Tanzania aims to open new economic, social, and diplomatic opportunities between the two nations. Speaking immediately after the signing of 7 agreements, President Samia says the countries have agreed to promote trade and investment by bringing together the public and private sectors to deepen cooperation in industry, agriculture, energy, mining, fishing, tourism, oil and gas.
Tumekubaliana kuimarisha urafiki na ushirikiano uliopo.
We have agreed to promote our friendship and existing cooperation in social, economic and political aspects for the benefit of both countries. We have realized that despite our strong diplomatic relations, there are many other things to be taken care of so that we can use the opportunities available and open new areas of cooperation, especially on the economic aspect.
Na kuibua maeneo mapya ya ushirikiano.
President Samia has also approved the revival of the Agriculture Training Center for rural farmers located in Mkindo in Morogoro region.
Kituo kile kimechangia kwa kiasi kikubwa.
The center has greatly contributed to the government's ambition to educate farmers and provide training to the agricultural experts. I've also invited the Indonesian government's leadership on their decision to revive agricultural activities in the center.
She insists that the partnership will enable Tanzania gain valuable experience in oil production from Indonesia, which is the largest producer of palm oil in the world.
Aidha, kwa vile Indonesia ni mzalishaji mkubwa.
Due to the fact that Indonesia is the biggest producer of palm oil in the world, I have told the president about Tanzania's intention to get experience from his country on cooking oil production so that we can revive this sector. As you know, our government is committed to ensuring that we increase the production of cooking oil so that we can stop using foreign currency to import oil from foreign countries.
Tuache kabisa kutumia fedha za kigeni kuagiza mafuta kutoka nchi za nje.
On the other hand, the president of Indonesia, Joko Widodo, mentions the energy and agriculture sectors as the nation's priority and vows to cooperate with African countries, including Tanzania.
Indonesia is pushing for the establishment of a preferential trade agreement to further optimize the bilateral trade potential of both our countries, which in 2022 increased by 20.7%. Second, Indonesia would like to increase investments in Tanzania, including in the management of the Mnazi Bay gas block by Pertamina.
Indonesia is an important stakeholder in the development of the country, where it has invested in more than 5 projects in agriculture, industrial production, and construction.
Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango underscores the importance of moral values and ethics to regional commissioners and administrative secretaries so as to make their work exemplary to others. He made the directive in Kibaha Coast region while officiating a special training of the regional commissioners and administrative secretaries. Is a report by Joseph Chawale, read to you by Teddy Mparanyanga.
Here is Mwalimu Julius Nyerere Leadership School in Kibaha, where regional commissioners and administrative secretaries of all regions of the country are meeting for a special training. The official guest of honor is the Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango, who directs them to work with integrity and avoid conflicts among themselves.
Mzingatie maadili na nidhamu katika maeneo ya kazi.
I want to urge the regional commissioners, administrative secretaries to consider discipline and ethics in their workplaces. Make sure that at all times you display a good picture and example to others. Lead others by using a collaborative approach. And it is a must to find a good way to collaborate with others so that the foundation of your leadership should be based on bringing development to the lives of our citizens.
Minister of State in the President's Office, Regional Administration and Local Government, Angela Kairuki, elaborates on the purpose of the training, while the Deputy Minister of State in the President's Office, Public Service Management and Good Governance, Ridhiwani Kikwete, reminds them of their duties and responsibilities.
Honorable Vice President, the aim of this training is to grant the leaders the ability to lead others, to supervise financial issues, among other issues, to instill in them the skills to lead strategically.
By considering the truth that policies and many government plans are implemented through the public service, and the statistics present show that more than 70% of public servants are in regional and local government authorities. These leaders who are receiving this training today have a guarantee of bringing productivity and result-oriented performance.
Here are some of the regional commissioners and administrative secretaries explaining how they will benefit from the training.
When you live here, we should go and strengthen our leadership, solve problems facing citizens, to respond to their complaints, and to protect the government's secrets. We want to promise you that once we go back to our workplaces, we will increase our efforts so that the private sector becomes productive.
I, as Administrative Secretary, have positively received the training because I am going to strengthen our performance as well as our leadership, so I promise to work better.
The 6-day training is expected to be closed on August 27th by President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan.
The Central Bank of Tanzania, BOT, reports that Tanzania has $5.441 billion in reserves, which is enough for the nation to import goods and services from abroad for 4.9 months. This follows after a global shortage of dollars triggered by the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic, the war between Ukraine and Russia, climate change, the execution of monetary policy to decrease liquidity in various countries, and the rise in inflation. Rehema Sababili has more details.
It is a meeting that involves stakeholders from the banking sector, media editors and traders of foreign currency exchange in the country, aiming to highlight the trends in dollars and the exchange of foreign currencies in the country, especially the US dollar. Selemani Misango, the Director of Policy and Economic Research at the Central Bank of Tanzania, revealed that the availability of foreign currency in the nation has stabilized and anticipates continuing to use the savings to increase the liquidity in the foreign exchange market in the nation, which managed to bring in an amount of $100.5 million between July and August this year, up from $62 million between July and September of last year.
We have adequate reserves. As of yesterday, we had 5.441 is equivalent to suffices to import goods and services for 4.9 months, which is close to 5 months. And this is one of the highest levels that, the Bank of Tanzania has accumulated over the recent past.
Misango adds that the BOT and the government has been making efforts to ensure that it maintains adequate foreign currency reserves, include the central bank's effort to raise market exchange rates, increase the sources of foreign currency acquisition, such as gold purchases, and boost export of goods.
We have increased our support to the market by selling much more foreign exchange, i.e. the US dollar, to support importation of goods and services. So we have increased the dollar liquidity by using our foreign exchange reserves. The other measure is that we have also worked with our colleagues in the banking sector and in the bureau de change to dialogue to ensure that there is order, there is calmness, and operations of foreign exchange, for the laid down procedures and regulations.
Some participants in the financial sector commend the central bank for continuing to take various steps to address the foreign currency shortage while also increasing foreign currency liquidity, a development that has helped the value of shilling remain resilient against the US dollar.
And for us as a bank, we are continuing to serve. As the previous speaker mentioned, we have continued to serve throughout this period, and we will continue. Because we see the importance of the economy continuing to run. And it is with the help of those members in the room to assist us in that endeavor.
Market, there's no dollars at all. But according to this effort BOT they are doing, I think they can reduce the demand of dollars.
The global economic trend has been improving, and according to the indicators, in 2023, the global economy will expand by 3%, as opposed to previous estimate of 2.8% growth, which was prompted by deflation of prices on the global market. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Rehema Sababili, TBC News.
Thank you, Rehema, for that report. Minister of Livestock and Fisheries, Abdallah Ulega, says the upcoming International Conference on Food Systems, AGRF, will open opportunities for the nation to learn various technological issues to advance fisheries, livestock and agriculture sector. He made the remarks in Dar es Salaam when opening a 3-day workshop for editors and journalists aiming to build awareness on the importance of conference and its benefits for the nation. Our reporter Emmanuel Samuel was there and has prepared the following report.
Tanzania is one of the countries in Africa that has large amount of livestock fisheries and agricultural products, so it is critical for the media to be aware of the challenges facing the sectors so that solution can be found for the development of the nation.
Tunataka tuilishe dunia, tuwalishe majirani zetu. Ili tufanye hivyo ni lazima tuzalishe vya kutosha. Na ndio maana
we want to feed the world and our neighbors. In order to do that, we must produce enough, and that is why the government has started the BBT program. We hope that you journalists will help us to explain this clearly to the citizens
for the
welfare of our nation.
This issue as a food systems, you're creating interest in a transect of people beyond just the production end of the agricultural value chain, and therefore when you attract more people and more interest, you're also opening up the country for more investment.
Toward the conference of the AGRF, the Kinondoni District Commissioner and some other journalists who are participating workshop organized by the Minister of Livestock expresses their expressions on the conference.
Soko lipo. Hakuna sehemu ambako kunduchi ya wapi kwamba samaki zinakosa wateja.
The market is existing and there is no place where kunduchi fish lacks customers. So we receive your instructions to ensure that we strengthen these fishery industries.
As an editor, I will ensure that my team participates well in this conference in order to write insightful stories about this conference.
There is a time when we should be patriots and look at how to help and push the government's agendas forward, because we need the country's economy to grow. We need infrastructure and social services, and all this will not be possible if journalists will be behind. President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan is expected to be the official guest at the forum that will be held for the first time in the country from 5
The executive director of the Muhimbili National Hospital, Professor Mohammed Janabi, says the step taken by Saudi Arabia to cover separation surgery of the conjoined twins Hassan and Hussein symbolizes the good and noble relations between Tanzania and the Arab nation. Professor Janabi made the remarks in Dar es Salaam when the acting ambassador of Saudi Arabia, Fahad Al-Harbi, paid a visit to see the progress of the children who have been receiving treatment for almost 2 years now. Here are more details by Bakarim Suya.
Today, the acting ambassador of Saudi Arabia in the country arrives at the Muhimbili National Hospital to see the condition of the conjoined twins Hassan and Hussein. Speaking to journalists, the executive director of the hospital, Professor Mohammed Janabi, says the act symbolizes noble relations between Tanzania and Saudi Arabia.
The most important thing for us is for these babies to go and return safely. Also, doctors will get to learn new techniques because they will be there during the war process. There is a special plane that will take them to Riyadh, and this is due to the good bilateral relations between Tanzania and Saudi Arabia.
Professor Janabi remains optimistic that the treatment to separate the conjoined twins will be successful in Saudi Arabia.
It's not that we don't do this type of surgery, but this is a great separation surgery. We thank our fellow doctors for their readiness to help on this surgery, which is why these babies and our doctors will go together to Riyadh.
Pediatric surgeon Zaituni Bukhari confirms that the twins will be escorted by a panel of experts to Saudi Arabia.
Kwetu kuna daktari bingwa wa upasuaji wa watoto.
We have a surgeon general who will participate in the whole procedure, and the nurse who has been taking care of them since they were little will go along with these babies. The conjoined twins aged 1 year and 11 months were brought to the hospital when they were 2 weeks old from Tabora. They're expected to travel tomorrow to Saudi Arabia for further treatment.
That was a story by Bakarim Suya, but read to you by Teddy Mparnyanga. Now let's head over to Zimbabwe, where more than 8 million Zimbabweans are expected to head to the polls tomorrow, Wednesday, 23rd August 2023. 11 candidates are participating in the harmonized general elections, but it seems to be a two-horse race between the incumbent president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, and Nelson Chamisa of the Citizens Coalition for Change. Is a report by Emil Sebeb.
The Zimbabwean main opposition leader arrived to a roaring crowd at the Freedom Square showgrounds in Harare. Chamisa is confident that after August 23rd, he will take the oath to lead Zimbabweans to prosperity.
I can tell you from what I've seen across the country, we have won this election and we are going to win with a big and a wide margin. We are the leading party in Zimbabwe. ZANU-PF are the ruling party, but we are showing them the exit door because we don't want a ruling party in Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans want to be led and ably led.
Chamisa says one of his key priorities is to phase out the use of the US dollar and focus on creating employment and food security once he ascends to power.
There's no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There's no way we are not going to have a celebration. There's no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
Voting starts on 7 in the morning on Wednesday and will close the same day at 7 at night. The election results are expected to be announced in 5 days after the polls have closed.
In other news, the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Professor James Mdoe, says upon completion of the new education policy, will produce more technically equipped youth once they finish secondary schools. Professor Mdoe made the remarks during the launch of an electric and solar energy laboratory at the Sisters of Mary Secondary School in the Coast Region, insisting the program will make youth meet current market needs. Emmanuel Samuel reports.
In his speech, Professor Mdoe says the government, in collaboration with the private sector, has put a lot of effort in supporting girls to acquire better education So it is their time to use the Solar and Electrical System Laboratory launched to study hard and increase their employability later.
This is a very important initiative in shaping the future for our students, as it creates a very conducive environment for learning and instilling attributes in learners' minds, innovation attributes in learners' minds. And for that, I congratulate the Sisters of Mary for that initiative.
The chairman and school manager at the Sisters of Mary School, Sister Mary Jane, country president of Schneider Electric East African, Carol Koech, and some students give a word just a few minutes after launch of electricity and solar energy laboratory.
With this equipment, it will help them to find job in companies, yes, and be able to help also in the society, even in their own village, with knowledge of the electrical installation and solar energy. They can by themselves install and share their skills.
Students using this lab and also for parents who have their children in this school, I must say that they are really privileged to be having access to such advanced technologies in their learning process. And I would encourage the students to ensure that they are making the most use of this equipment, because this is exactly what they will find when they go to the industries or the workplace. So taking advantage of the training equipment to learn the most, to be able to offer these services to the market once they graduate out of school.
I feel privileged to be here because we are able to get different knowledge on how to use those digital machines, on which there are some students there in the village, they cannot acquire things like this one.
These machines we can use after graduating here in the Sisters of Mary School. We can obtain different jobs from different companies and develop our lives. Not only our lives, also we can help our families and societies.
Sisters of Mary School, located at Kisarawe district, is ahead by offering training modules that combine academic and vocation training to increase learning experience for students to enhance their employability skills. Emmanuel Samuel, TBC News.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for that report. The ambassador of the East African community, Jessica Mshama, says her just-launched Education Space Summit project will upskill young people's competence in communication, technology and space issues. Jessica made the remarks after arriving in Tanzania from the United States as a representative of the East African community to various conferences and trainings held under the coordination of the United Nations.
Tanzania Space Education Summit is one of the first events that's coming in Tanzania to link the students with the space industry. As we all know, we were all at once aspired to be astronauts and to understand how the possibilities of building a career in the space industry. But now we're bringing it home. We're bringing it in Tanzania.
Furthermore, she uses the opportunity to express her intention to support various efforts made by the President, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, especially in the education sector in the country.
Applaud our President, Honorable President of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan. She has been doing an incredible work in implementing the education sector, and we're here to strengthen that. Actually, we're here to tell her that what she's doing, it's remarkable, and us as individuals who are supporting education sector, we will continuously look for investors, people who can lead us to better education to everybody in Tanzania.
On the other hand, Gitika Gorthi, who is a sponsor of her project and the founder of Ignited Thinkers organization, says the project will target more young girls.
Other, young girls, young students like them in the space sector, get them thinking about aerospace careers and pipeline the talent, the young talent in Africa, in Tanzania, into the aerospace economy that's growing in Tanzania.
Now, before we wind up our local news, let us take a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Do not miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news. And here's international news compiled by Dorothy Mari and read to you by Teddy Mparanyanga.
The African Union AU has suspended Niger from all its activities following a military coup on July 26. In a statement released today, AU reiterates calls for the coup leaders to release elected President Mohamed Bazoum and return to their barracks. The AU Peace and Security Council has taken note of ECOWAS' decision to activate a standby force for a possible military intervention and asked the AU Commission to assess the economic, social and security implications of deploying such a force. The AU called on all of its member states and the international community to refrain from action that could legitimize Niger's junta and said it strongly rejected interference from any actor or country outside of Africa. The Central African Republic's court has approved the outcome of July referendum that increases the length of the presidential term to 7 years, but allows the president to run for office as many times as they like. The court declared that an overwhelming majority of 95% approved the vote and turnout at just above 57%. The new law creates an office of a vice president appointed by the president and a unicameral parliament, doing away with the Senate. It also bans politicians with dual citizenship from running for president and increases the number of Supreme Court judges from 9 to 11. Thailand's former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has been jailed upon returning to the country after 15 years in exile. He arrived on Tuesday morning in a private jet. He was then sentenced to 8 years on former criminal convictions he says were politically motivated. Thaksin, Thailand's most successful elected leader, has long been feared by conservative royalists who have backed military coups and contentious court cases to weaken him. In another development, Thailand's parliament has chosen Srettha Thavisin as a new prime minister.
That was international news. Sports news is up next. And in sports news, the head coach of the NBC Premier League defending champions Young African Miguel Gamondi believes his team will kick off the Premier League in style as they face KMC at Chamazi Stadium tomorrow. Head coach Gamondi claims that players are highly motivated and eager to win the opening game, while the KMC head coach Abdi Moami says they will be doing everything possible to win the game.
We'll try to give a very, very nice kind of football, attractive football, offensive and with a huge commitment to defend this jersey.
Our objective is to improve, and our objective is to compete as best as we can. We played a difficult game last few days ago against Namungo. Tomorrow will be another difficult game against Yanga.
This is the first match for Young Africans in the NBC Premier League. In other sports news, the Lugalo Golf Club chairman, retired Brigadier General Michael Luwongo, urges golfers who will participate in the CDF Trophy this season to prepare well before the competition kicks off over the weekend at the Lugalo Golf Club ground. Chairman retired Brigadier General Luwongo says he expects to see quality performance from the golfers as the tournament aims at raising their standards ready for international competitions in Africa.
These games will help us to gauge our players before the international competitions. Even though they are bringing trophies and medals, but we want them to do more on the golf course as they prepare for international championships.
September, tunahamisha kambi, tunakwenda Arusha.
The CDF Trophy will involve 100 golfers from various clubs in the country and golfers from the Malawi Defense Force. And that's it for sports news. Now, before we wind up, let us take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello viewers, welcome for the next 24 hours weather forecast from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. My name is Teresa Ngasa. By starting with the windy flow pattern, wind is expected to flow at the speed of 30 km per hour over Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Nyasa and the southern coast. Also, wind is expected to flow at the speed of 20 km per hour from southeast over northern coast. For tonight, it is our expectation that most part of our country are expected to feature partly cloudy condition, and the lowest minimum temperature is expected to be 10 degrees Celsius over Njombe region. For tomorrow, we expect most part of our country to feature partly cloudy condition. And now let's take a look on the 4 days weather forecast. Thank you for watching us. Bye-bye.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I am Faitha Ngaga. Good night.